Chinnajeeyar Swami, the huge follower of Sri Ramanujacharya, he says his preachers are only from his practices. He tries to create awareness of heritage, to showcase equality in gender, caste, religion and race. He is constructing statue of equality which is huge in its own way. This week on It's Me, meet Sri Chinnajeeyar Swami.
So, being Ramanujacharyalu Garu is your guru. So, what are the principles that you are taking forward for this generation?
Ramanujacharya Swami, born 1000 years ago, 1017 AD was his birth year. Though he was a great religious leader and a spiritual master, but he always stood for the social causes like equality, tolerance, and togetherness. So Ramanujacharya is an icon of equality. So he said that all people, irrespective of what their background is and what their color, race, religion may be, but they are all the children of this Mother Earth. And it's only one God who created all of us. So let's be one before Him. Let's be loyal before Him. Let's be together before Him. Let's work together for the betterment of this world, where we can make this world as a wonderful place for living. So that was his message. So it is very, very needed today in the present day context, like where there are people fighting in the name of religion, and in the name of a nationality, and also in the name of racism and stuff. His messages are pretty relevant today. If understood, I think we can really at least inspire few people to follow that. When you talk about humanity, without life there is no humanity. When you talk about God, without His form there is no God. So, according to Vedic recommendations and what Acharya said, the world, whatever you see all around, is nothing but the form of God. It's a divine form of God. So, as you see in your own form that there is a color difference, size difference, activity difference, like your hands do some work, legs do some other work, eyes do some other work, teeth, they do some other work, tongue does some other work. Colors are different, activities are different, names are different, but all they are together. So also in a big world, when you see the trees, a man in different colors and different races, different languages, different activities, all these form the same divine body of God. So, when we are all parts of God, how come that we hate each other? And how come we suppress others? How the issue comes like conversion from one to the other? So this kind of things never happen if the understanding is appropriate. So proper understanding should be inculcated. That is main thing. So when you talk about the world, God is within. When you talk about God, can be experienced through this beautiful form. So there is a link between the form you see and between the power behind. Understand, but both go together. And you work for both. So if you are a great devotee, yes, and your devotion should be shown to God by working through the forms that are visible to us. Wherever there is a need, identify and try to address it. When you want, just work with the society, but still it is fine. But understand that the society you look at is supported by some unseen power called, people call as God. Some people call it nature. Some people call with different names. Doesn't matter. But that is also there behind. Until and otherwise you understand that power behind, you won't be loyal. Otherwise you try to prove yourself with the power of your body, power of your money, power of your position in the government or in the office or wherever it is. and then just you try to pose yourself, so which is really not good. So if you have to just suppress them, or if you have to keep them under control so that the humanity comes up and humanitarian values which are to be understood, I think this is what Ramanuja worked for. So for a devotee, Ramanuja is an embodiment of spiritual wealth. Whereas for an atheist who never believes in God, Ramanujacharya is a personified humanity. So both are needed.
I think in this generation, definitely this is required. As I said before, only it is not about the God, it's the equality, the human equality is it. So coming to not only within India, like the countries like Australia or US, so how do you feel the people, our Indians or any other country persons, how are they taking these speeches of yours?
By way of working with the society, with the community, where they extend their services as volunteerism, promoting volunteerism, where they understand the difficulties of the society, they identify the need of the people in different places. Like there are people who are homeless, who are deceased, and there are places which need some kind of service. So they identify such things, and where youngsters go there as teams, and if there are people needing food, they procure food and they distribute the food. If there are nursing centers where they need some kind of help, these people form the groups and go there, work with them and help them in a way possible. And wherever there is a need, like just cleaning and activities, they form groups. Again, they go there, they adopt that particular place and then see that it is maintained properly. And whenever there is a healthy need, then they go conduct medical camps, organize the place, camps there, and then just work with the people through the doctors, and then see that some kind of medical help is extended. This way, the youngsters come because they like the service activities, so they'll be there on the service. But in the process of doing service, the force behind also will be understood, and then they definitely realize what they are really doing. A few clippings of the discourses or some pieces of the discourses, they make small presentations, and then they just release them through the Facebook or through the WhatsApp, or they keep everything is available on the website, which is very commonly used by the youngsters. And then they prepare some apps and just see that information is also kept through the apps. They keep it available, yes. Different, because there are a variety of media nowadays available to take the messages across. So they adopt these things and just try to give the message as well.
It's my personal question now. The intensity in your eyes, the bass in your voice, and your face features, it gives a very attractive power. Do you think that all these features are helping for your speeches?
I am as I am. I'm not an actor.
Of course.
So as I am, that I am. And as I am, thus I speak. So we never act for the sake of telling something and doing something. When there is something like, use it for better. That's always thing. See, few things which we never get them on our own. A painting you are able to make. Grooming a tree you are able to make. But the color of the body is not our choice. The features in us are not at our choice, but they are the choice of God. Same caste is not our choice. It's God's given. Creed, race, skin color, All these are God-given things. Unfortunately, people abuse them and they use them for some different purposes, like criticizing others, which is really bad. It is called in Sanskrit language as mother, arrogance. But this arrogance must be turned around, and that becomes really attractive and good and will be loved by everybody. What happens if we reverse the mother? It becomes a Dhamma. Dhamma is control. When you make it Dhamma, you use it for others. Like if you have money, don't become arrogant and say, hey, I'm this rich. And don't try to show up.
Okay, coming to a Statue of Equality, I heard this is the biggest project in the world. Can you tell us something about this project, Swamiji, and also what actually we are trying to convey from this Statue of Equality?
The Statue of Equality project is the second tallest sitting statue in the world. The first one is in Hong Kong, and this is going to be the second tallest one. This we are making with 5 metals. So, because the legacy given by Ramanujacharya Swami 1000 years ago, when the rest of the world didn't open eyes at all, was still relevant even today. Because the need even today is much more than those days. Ramanujacharya was the first person who opened the doors of the temples for even the untouchable and neglected communities in those days. And though it was his own guru objecting him not to give the meaning of the mantra to the masses and just cursed him that you go to the hell, but Ramanuja never mind even just falling in the hell also, when the world is going to be saved from the sins and from the miseries. That was the greatest heart of Ramanujacharya. And even today there are people and countries fighting with each other on the name of race and religion, and suffering from inequality. When these kind of things are existing, I think the message of Ramanuja looks and appears always afresh. So for such people, proper education is required. Ramanujacharya gives that. So the concept of love and the concept of one God taking the universe and also all the living organisms as his body, what is called as the Srihari Atma Bhava Sambandha, the key point of Ramanujacharya's school of thought. It is having very, very relevance now for the people to understand. As there are parts, never quarrel with each other in a body. So also one God having the entire thing as his body, and all we people, all of you human beings, maybe somebody born in Arab countries, somebody born in Western countries, somebody born in Bharat countries, doesn't matter. But we are all different parts of the same body. So why should we quarrel with each other, which is not necessary. And everybody can have his own faith or her own faith, and who objects that? Nobody. If that is understood, I think quarrels won't be there. Yeah. If that's understood, I think the world becomes a place for enjoying peace. So Ramanujacharya came up with such ideology, so that ideology is very, very relevant even today. So for which the Statue of Equality, which is being built in Hyderabad, stands as a living example, conveying the message of equality to the whole world. So for which actually we are creating a Vedic library to make any kind of referential activities there. And also we are creating a hall of world leaders from across the globe, whoever stood for the value of equality and did something. So their forms and their history will be collected, and also that hall talks everything about that equality, and leaders of the world who just made it to happen are trying to make it happen also, at least.
So the people here in Australia, when you came here, we see many people are coming to you and are taking the blessings and all. Definitely, we are. How compared to the previous years, how you see the religious beliefs in the people? Did you see it's increased or it's decreasing?
Religious faith is increasing incredibly,
Okay.
for sure. Increasing number of temples, increasing number of population, increasing income of the places like that. I think all these are very nice evidences for us to understand that people are turning more devotional. But the problem is the devotion earlier days and today is a different way. In earlier days, the devotion was towards the mass. They used to think, let my world be safe, my country be safe, people be safe, and so on and so forth. Now it's been centralized towards oneself. Let me be good, and let my family be good, let my children be good, let my job be good, let my promotion be good. So now the focus is just turned around from the society to the self. That's where actually the challenge we are facing today in the big world. So if we are still able to just make the focus again turn back to the society, I think that's all what we have to achieve. That's where all these temples on this religious leaders and activities should play a key role. And that happens when they are together in activities and inspire the devotees to be like that. I think a little change will definitely be there. With regard to the devotion than earlier is really much more. And now people are turning as more tolerant than earlier. Earlier the exposure also was very limited. But now there is a vast exposure towards what the texts speak about. So knowing them, all that we need to do is just whatever just you have yours, just follow that. But whatever that doesn't belong to you, just you see that it is respected. So this is, I think, probably what we have to convey to the people, where we have to stress more upon it and make people understand it. And also let us make people to practice it also. You need to respect everything. You may be a believer in God, other person may not be believing God at all, but you both should believe the society where you are living. And you have to take care of the world from which you are getting your food and just taking a shelter. So there you need not quarrel with each other. So you should live together. So faiths and practices are very much confined to the home. And service, understanding and sharing is the requirement of the society. That's what Ramanujacharya said 1,000 years ago. Maybe there are definitely some kind of weaknesses always make man to be low and also create problems in the society. But it was again Ramanujacharya comes into the picture and says, weakness of a person should be identified by a person called a doctor. But doctor identifies the weakness not to criticize him, to put him again on the right track. And see that whatever the force that is generated should be utilized in a better way. This is where we have to work together. So don't criticize anybody, try to work together, and as long as just your religion, your practices are allowing to do that way, and nothing is wrong. Fortunately here in Australia, such a kind of tolerance between the religions is promoted by the government itself. So which is really, really encouraging. And it is now the duty of the religious leaders how they respond, how they act upon with the ideology of being with others and doing something to the society.
Yeah. Coming to this Mahayagna, which is the biggest one happening on 4th of March, which is biggest in southern hemisphere itself. It was taken as a prestigious project. So what do you want to say about this, Swamiji?
And Vedic practices are to add something good to the nature, to the environment, and to the people's will as well. Because it is the mind that works properly. Helps the nation, help the nature, help the fellow beings to be good. Yagam is something that works on the body, works on the mind, works on the intellect, and works on the nature also, because in Bhagavad Gita it's very clearly said, Yajnat bhavanti, Annat bhavanti bhutani, Parjanyad anna sambhavaha, Yajnat bhavati parjanyaha, Yajna karma samudbhavaha. So Yajna, if done properly, it is the one which generates the rain-giving clouds. Even otherwise, sun rays are always available in the sky and water gets evaporated. But every drop that gets evaporated is turning to rain and giving a help to us. But what we expect is, let every drop that generates rain should be there for us in good number, so that there will be sufficient rains and the water table under the ground also will be increased, and fertility of the earth becomes becomes evident, and we can just see that through the eyes. And at the same time, people also live with them and share things with them and see that nature is protected and human race is protected and their cultures are protected and their religions are protected and their culture should be protected. And ultimately, the protection activity, whatever done by either different individuals or from the governmental side, should help the nation to progress. They should not stop as a hindrance for the progression at any cost. It should not be, I think that kind of attitudes be tolerated. So if that is done, I think our yajnam is successful. Our aim is to see that such things are promoted. We pray to God, and all the devotees attending that yagam also going to pray for this kind of things to happen. Here, the Indian community in Australia is also doing good. They are contributing wonderful skills and abilities for the promotion of the overall progression of the country here. And what we expect them is just try to be together in preserving the culture from which you are here, because of which you will be respected by the world and adored by people. And that's our Vedic culture. So be practicing that always, and don't hesitate ever to say that you are a person came to this part of the world as a child of great rishis and as a beloved child of God even. So that is where we have to share the ideas, share the good things. So let us be like that. Keep congregating every now and then and share the ideas. Don't stop the process of learning good things from our scriptures. And because the government here also given in schools a class for scriptures, studying. What are scriptures that you are hailing from? See that it is learned by parents and by the children as well. And thus let them inculcate good habits and help the society. We pray that all our Indian communities also we take it as an acting task for the whole year 2017, which is the millennium year of Ramanujacharya Swami. And we are going to inaugurate that during the first quarter of next year, and we invite you all for that august and enjoyable event. I am so happy for your interest and initiative. Jai Srimanarayan.